Now, we know there had been an incident with a gun 5 days before that, and I believe it was at swim practice where he had, when she was threatening to break up with him, and by the way, there were 2 or 3 occasions at which he threatened suicide over the breakup, that he showed her a gun.
He'd call me and he'd be like, "I'm going to kill myself if you don't go back out with me." And he actually sent me a picture with a gun in his mouth. And he's like, "If you don't call me right now, I'm going to shoot." And so I called him and I actually got back together with him.
He had threatened suicide at this point, and earlier he had cut off his contacts with other people and concentrated fully on her. So she has this, he's at her house all the time, he's threatening suicide. At this point he's pulled out a gun.
He's threatened to kill himself, and so with the recent breakup, on top of all those other things, it's really kind of like, it's a no-brainer that, something would happen shortly after that.
It took me like 3 times to actually break up with him and stay away.
I think the really critical thing right here is that when right prior to him coming to the house and shooting her, she'd sent him a text and told him to come and get his stuff.
I was trying to leave him one day because we were arguing, and he flipped out and he ended up locking me in the closet because I tried to leave.
That's when most people get killed, is when they're getting ready to leave, and that's what precipitated the shooting.
And he actually came to my house when my mom wasn't home. And I told him to leave, and he's like, "No, I'm not going to leave." And I'm like, "Get out of my house." And I bedroom. And I was trying to dial her number, and I had it, and he grabbed me by the leg, and I was actually fell down. And he got on top of me and pulled my phone away. And he's like, "Talk to me." And I'm like, "I don't want to talk to you, and this isn't talking, this is attacking."
The boy obtained, the young man, he was 18, I think, at the time this happened. Let's call him a boy, he's a man. The man got the gun from his grandfather. Grandfather had handguns in the house or other weapons, so that's the origin of the gun. But he had been carrying that gun for some period of time. I'm not sure that we have the information about how often or how long he had been carrying a gun. The girlfriend was aware that he had been carrying a gun for some time, and what she did with this information, we don't really know at this point.
And I started to walk out on him from the party. So I was walking, and I got 3 blocks before he said, "Kathleen." And I turned around, and he just came and he hit me straight in my head. And he said, "You don't leave me."
And I don't know, somehow I finally got the phone, and I got locked in my mom's bedroom, and I finally called her, and she's like, "I'm going to be there." And he's like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "I called my mom," and he left.
The young couple drove back to her parents' house. The arguing continued. At about that time, the father was driving up. But prior to the father's arrival in the actual driveway of the house, the boy shot the girl in the chest.
Well, today is a Department of Health free workshop that is intended to build capacity across the state for workforce to understand teen dating violence prevention. So what we were able to do is to bring 80 people across the state, including youth, from all different professions, including school resource officers, teachers, mental health providers, as well as young people, to talk about preventing teen dating violence. Red flags is a way for us to figure out who is at risk and how serious the risk is. So for young people, this is a pretty good checklist of information for you to know about warning signs. Okay, so what does this acronym mean? R starts the assessment with relationship status. We want to know if they're dating. We want to know if they're about age 13 or younger and they're dating, that's a red flag. Do they have respect in relationships? How do they stay resilient? How do they bounce back from difficult situations? And also, we can empower them by helping them to understand their rights in relationships. The E stands for emotional and technological abuse. I noticed that tool did not include stalking, and it's really important. So I added stalking in there, as well as educational sabotage. The S stands for friends and family. How connected are they? Are they being isolated? And so if you notice in the first part of this screen that you're seeing a lot of these red flags pop up, either that they're perpetrating this behavior or that they are being victimized by it, then it's time to move to L, which is a risk assessment. That helps us to understand how serious is this violence in their relationships. A is the quick assessment. It's anger, aggression, arguments. Are the arguments escalating? Abuse or stalking history. Have they themselves been abused? Have they abused former partners? Access to weapons is a big one, and especially when I've worked with young people who are gang involved, that's a question that we always want to talk about. We always want to kind of assess for. Animal cruelty, attempts or threats to harm. G stands for give youth-centered resources. So you found these red flags. You're talking with this young person. You really know now, okay, we need to step in and help get this person safe. So there are youth-centered resources available as well as a link to a safety plan.
Peer intervention is very crucial because our youth don't go to their parents or they don't go to the police or more or less even the counselors. They go to each other when they need help.